Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Well, another part of What If Deku was a space marine? Well, no, I'm going to change it. What if Deku was a Enari? If you don't know what Enari is, it's Eldar, not the Dark Eldar. The Jukari are, I think the Jukari are the Dark Eldar, and the Enari are the Light Eldar. So he is an Enari. The Where we start off is, well, two individuals running away from, well, a grey knight, going by the name of Brother Vance, or something or other. Brother Vance, that's all I could come up with. As he says, "You Eldari will not escape my wrath. You have earned the Emperor's ire today." Don't ask me why the Inquisition would send a Grey Knight. They're few and far between. Just for the plot reasons, okay, folks, this will be the last time you see this guy. As he chases these two Eldari, as well, one of them puts up a barrier. That doesn't really slow him down at all. He just cuts through the barrier and just continues going after them. As well, one elder shouts, "Mother, hurry, we must find a place to hide." As they go into a gateway, an Eldari webway gate. They exit the webway gate to only get, sucked through a chaos portal, and this chaos portal sends them screeching to Earth. Sorry, guys, if you heard those clicking sounds, it was me. Sorry. Anyway, as well, they find themselves on a green, face down, lying in dirt. As this one of them gets up, saying, "Ouch, where are we?" As she gets up, as her mother also gets up, as she holds her stomach, saying, "We need to find a place to hide. I have a feeling it's close. I'm getting closer to that stage when I had you." As the girl turns to her and walks, saying, "I know, Mother. Please, try and rest. You're going to need your strength." As well, they hear a snapping sound, because they're in the forest. I failed to mention they're in the forest of Japan, by the way. Anyway, back to the story. As they hear a snapping sounds of twigs being broken. As well, a man walks out as he sees two hooded figures. Well, one hooded figure and one with a helmet that he does not recognize. As the one with the hoodie pulls out a weapon, saying, "Stay back, Monkai." As this man who doesn't know Gothic just just like puts his hands up to the sides and shrugs saying in Japanese, "What are you talking about, Monkai? I'm a human." As well, both of them start talking, shouting at each other in their own languages. As this gentleman just puts both his fingers, well, two of his fingers to his eyes, and pulls out a notepad. As well, this hooded figure runs up to him and socks him in the face with the butt of a rifle. Yes, it's a rifle, a gun. And she points it at him, saying, "What the hell what are you doing, Monkai?" As this gentleman gets up again and, well, hurls fire at her from his mouth. Both of the girls being taken back by this, as they both jump back. As the girl's partner, who she ran with, both of them are girls, by the way, as the hooded figure jumps back to a finely dressed woman with the helmet, she starts screaming and starts shouting in pain, saying, "Ah, not good. Why now, of all places?" As the gentleman could see that she was in pain, easy points, as the other Inari quickly runs to her side, shouting, "Mother," as she looks on in pain, as she takes off, well, doesn't really take off the helmet. She removes her hoodie, revealing purple hair and very, very finely coloured skin, along with a beautiful face to match. Now, this man runs up to them. She shouts at the Monkai to get away, at the human to get away. She calls him a Monkai once again. As he takes off his jumper, passing it to her, saying, just shaking it, saying, and then pointing at her, saying, basically, use this. She's going into labour. As he basically draws a picture saying, with her being pregnant, her baby is now coming out of her. I gave you the coat to wrap the child with. As she understands and nods her head, saying fine. Obviously, he still doesn't understand her, and she doesn't understand him, and he doesn't understand her. As well, this is where she, after a few hours of potential screaming and, well, two people crowding her, another lot of people turn up, and one of them's actually All Might and Endeavour. As they run up, and this is when All Might was in his prime, and Enji Todoroki was, well, lagging behind. They sort of got paired up with the same teacher for their, basically what Todoroki did with Endeavour when he goes to visit his agency. Basically, they're doing that. And because they're going off on their own, they are the ones who found these three. As they rush over, the one with purple hair points her rifle up again, as well, as we all know, as Hasashi, because he's got white hair, I'm going to say that, grabs a weapon, points it down, shakes his head, saying, "No, don't do it." Good, as he does a G's and two O's and a D, and guys. And she nods her head, saying, "Fine." And obviously, everybody doesn't really understand what she's saying, apart from her mother. As they all keep her calm, well, Angie wants to run tests on them to see if they're human, because their language is sure as hell isn't human. And All Might is the same, but he's a lot more lenient, because he punches Angie, saying that one there is pregnant and she's now in labour. So unless you've got any better ideas, as he doesn't really describe it as that, he just points, saying she's now giving birth to a child. So you either A, shut up and give us all a hand, or you just walk off and pretend this never happened. Because this secret would stay between us two alone, us three alone. As I said, they all help out. Eventually, the helmet of the lady gets knocked off, revealing quite, well, quite a head of silver, blonde, quite a lovely thicket of blonde hair with green eyes and red face paint going down both of her cheeks and to a little bit of her throat. As well, she finally stops screaming as you could hear a child crying. Hisashi wraps the child up in his jumper and passes the child to his mother. Well, to its mother. He didn't really see if it was a boy or a girl or not. As well, Inko just, as the girl with the purple hair just says, "Mother, it's a baby boy. You've got a son and a daughter now." As well, Inko is just sort of happy and proud and says, "What should we name him then?" As she says, "How about Izuku?" As she nods, saying, "I think that's a perfect name. Perfect name for my perfect little boy." As she looks at all three, she doesn't get up, but she sits up, sort of says thank you, while she's got tears running down her eyes. All Might kneels down and writes on a piece of paper, but starts writing down on a piece of paper, but Hisashi grabs his arm, saying no, as he draws a picture, saying basically pointing, "Who are you?" As Inko sort of hands her son off, hands Izuku off to her daughter, as she also draws on it as well, saying, "We are not of this world." as All Might just face palms and sort of says, "We know that," in his Japanese voice, which Inko started to understand along with her daughter. As the daughter sort of says, "Okay," as well, all three of them are actually surprised that she's starting to speak their language. So they start speaking more in Japanese, and so does she, also speaking Japanese. Eventually, getting a full sentence out and fully starting to speak Japanese altogether, saying, my mother's name is Inko Midoriya. I'm um I am how do I say this? I'm my name is my name is Izumi Midoriya. And I'm a ranger of the Inari, which you may call us elves, but we are also called Eldar. As MG Todoroki sort of bursts out laughing, saying, "Yeah, right. Eldar are characters from a video game here on Earth. How could you be any of them?" As well, Izumi passes young Izuku back to his mother, back to their mother, as she picks up her rifle and, well, shoots Enji in the, in the toe, as it makes the sound of the Eldar weapon. As he sort of screeches in pain, as, well, a lot of people, as police sirens could be heard. And Inko and Izumi, along with Izuku, sort of do a ninja vanish act. Sort of being like warp spiders, but with a flashbang instead. As they all run, well, Inko during that time gathered enough strength to start running again. As well, the police arrive as they comb the area as they see blood, thinking that someone's injured and the heroes are just here to try and find them. They all start combing the area because Inko still is bleeding a bit. As well, the trail ends. The police can't find anybody. They even brought in search dogs, and even the search dogs couldn't find anything. So they called off the search. And if you're just wondering, Eldar can live for a remarkably long time. So, yeah. Inko is actually 246, and, well, Izumi is simply 101 years old. And Izuku is actually 15, because I'm now skipping to the start of the anime. So, now that Izumi and Inko have found out where they are, they're on a planet called Earth, which represents the cradle of humanity. And it turns out that either the dark god Zinch or something went wrong with an Eldar craft world, but Inko believes it was Zinch, the god of the dark god of change, the god of change. He may have made a spell, well, made a ritual to try and change the the fate of the galaxy to where chaos wins. But something went wrong and it turned into a teleportation device, or teleportation spell, which flung them centuries upon centuries upon centuries into a completely different universe where the dark gods and the warp do not exist. Like, at all. But strangely enough, they can still tap it into the warp themselves. But it's a lot more potent, it's stronger. Considering they're in a new galaxy, so they have to abide by the galaxy's rule. Hashtag they're in a completely different universe where chaos and nothing even exists. It's still the Milky Way galaxy, just it doesn't have the dark gods fucking everybody over. There's, well, Inko Midoriya, and, well, Izuku Midoriya and Azumi Midoriya all continue on their daily lives. They keep their secret origins hidden. They don't let humans sort themselves, find them, because they don't want to be put into a laboratory. And, well, Deku is not really this rebellious type of guy, unlike his sister, who was kind of rebellious. But as soon as she found out how dangerous the galaxy was, she immediately put herself to training as a ranger. So she ended up teaching Izuku with their mother about the Eldar history and their tactics. And Izuku is very good with the sword, with the Inari sword. And, well, him and his sister, along with their mother, will often spar together. Izuku will often go to a kendo club and also a karate club. And he would often use both things to take his enemies out. And he's extremely flexible. Like, so flexible he could most probably curl himself up into a literal ball and start rolling. And don't any one of you dare make that rolling joke. Or I think there's a song. Yeah, whatever. So, yeah. So, back to the actual story. Izuku is actually in his last day of class. As, well, oh yeah, I failed to mention this. He's extremely tall. He's taller than All Might and Ida. And, well, he's not really friends with Bakugo. He doesn't really go to Bakugo's school, per se. he actually goes to a private school with Shoto Todoroki and Momo Yaoyorozu, along with Ida. Ida doesn't really know Momo that well, nor Todoroki. He keeps his distance away from Izuku, because according to him, he seems rather off. Shoto doesn't really give two shits, as usual. And Momo, she likes him, but not enough to consider going out with him. Because he seems to be too strict and too, well, as a lot of people call the elder, have a stick up their ass. Like Ida, with rules. But to a degree of he could recite a poem from William Shakespeare and not even skip a, well, not even stop to take a breath. He could literally recite a poem from William Shakespeare without taking a breath. If anybody can do that in real life, I'll be impressed. Because I sure as hell wouldn't be able to. Anyway, Izuku, well, as I said, is tall as fuck. He doesn't really. Well, he does talk to Momo a lot because she seems to be a lot more sensible and actually treats him like a proper person. As well, Izuku walks out, going home because class ended. As he walks around the corner, he sort of hides for a bit because he likes to. He got a bad habit of sneaking around corners, going into the shadows to listen to eavesdrop on people's conversations, let's say. As Momo talks to Todoroki and Ida, and she says, "Well, what are you two going to be doing this year? Going to UA?" As Todoroki says, "Well, of course I'm going to UA. I want to be a hero. But I also want to show my old man that I don't have to use his damn fireside." And Ida just says, "Well, I'm going to UA anyway to keep the hero line running in my family." "You, Momo?" As Momo just says, "Well, obviously I'm going. I'm taking the, well, I've been, oh, you know, not, well, I'm doing the recommendation part. You, Todoroki?" As he says, "I'm also doing the, well, I'm doing the recommendation as well." As Ida says, "I'm not doing the recommendation at all. I am going through the same process as everybody else should truly go through it." As Deku says to himself, UA. Always wanted to go there. I could also keep my sister and mother, as well, sister and mother, safe as well. I should be able to become the number one hero. But I don't have a quirk. Everybody thinks I do because I'm powerful. But it's just training. Plus I'm psychic anyway, as they think I am. And just to let you know, he knows all languages of the earth. So if he spoke to somebody in Russian, or somebody from Russia, he would speak to them in Russian. If he spoke to somebody from here in the UK, he would speak to them in the British language. American, Chinese, the list goes on. So yeah, Izumi actually does work, but not in UA. She works in a primary school. Not the one Izuku's in, but she actually works in the one that Bakugo's in. And she's an actual teacher. Not a teaching assistant, a teacher. And she replaces the Bakugo's teacher. And Bakugo is scared of her. You know the running meme of Bakugo getting slapped by Flip Flop? If anybody's seen that meme, she says the exact same thing to Bakugo, saying, "Do not make me get the Flip Flop." And he shuts up. I'm going to make him a live. Everybody should really make Bakugo a living meme. Because the one way to make somebody really angry is just to make them a meme. I'm actually making myself laugh. Anyway. So, yeah. Same thing happens in canon, where the sludge villain attacks. But this time it's, it's still Deku, but Bakugo steps in to help him. And just to let you know, Deku has the, 3 red marks like his mother, going down his chin, going down his cheeks, and 1 mark going from his, going from the temple, from his temple of his forehead to the, just up to the hairline of his upper head. As Bakugo gets snagged by the villain. Bakugo doesn't have his henchmen around him. As, Bakugo makes an explosion like he usually does, causing fire and everything. To only see, as people start crowding around him, a few minutes later, Deku walks past, seeing that the heroes can't do anything to save the kid. As he says, I got psychic powers. I got warp power, so I could use the warp to make the guy go a bit sad on the inside. As he, covers his whole body and facial features with a cloak like his sister had. He jumps over everybody, does a full front flip, and lands in front of them, including all the heroes who are there, who are just in awe of this guy, who just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. As he, says a few words as as the sludge villain sort of has a orb go around him, as he lets Bakugo go. As Bakugo coughs, turns around to do an explosion, but stops himself as he sees the villain morph into a humanoid body. As he, fully forms, and the guy goes onto his hands and, goes onto his knees, with his arms just slumped down, and what looked like water drops, drops of water coming from his face. As he just repeats, I'm sorry, please make it stop. As Deku walks up, saying, will you hand yourself over to the authorities and accept the punishment? As he just says, yes, just please make it stop. I don't want to see my ma again. Especially after what she did to me that made me turn into this. Made me go down the path I am on now. As Izuku just lets him go. As well, All Might is actually watching him. And All Might still does have the scar. And he's actually on top of a building. And was on top of a building waiting to just jump down. In case things got too out of hand. But he decides to watch the kid that just saved Bakugo, well, whoever it was, just now saved Bakugo. As Bakugo is very amazed on how strong this guy is. As Deku gets ridiculed but praised for being so strong. Bakugo gets praised for being so brave. As the news sort of rush Izuku, as they immediately ask him, well, all the heroes think that he's a vigilante, so they try to arrest him, but the news sort of barged him all out the way as they all gather around him, go around Deku saying, are you a hero? And how strong are you? What's your quirk? All this and that and the other. As Deku just simply says, please back off. You're in my personal space. And I do know karate and Muay Thai and all this, so I do know a fair few ways of, well, severely hurting you guys. So back the riddy goody Rick off right now, please. Give me some space. As everybody does that, he says, thank you. And he just says, my power is my mind. My quirk is my mind. So anything I can think of, as he pulls out a just makes a Glock 19, well, and then a P90 appear in his hand. As he then then it just disappears as a sword from the Roman era appears in both of his hands, on top of his hands. Sorry. As he just says, it's all the power of my mind. My mind is my power. You can call me psychic, but you can call me a psycho, basically. As everybody sort of gets confused, saying, psycho? What's that? As he says, basically somebody with a quirk. As they all just go, oh. As he says, I'm sorry, but if I don't get home, my mother's going to kill me. Or put me through harsh training, which I don't want to go through again. As he sort of, does a ninja vanish with, this time, a smoke screen. As he, covers everybody in smoke and jumps up to the roof. Jumps onto the windowsill of a building and climbs all the way up on top of a building. Luckily, nobody saw him because they were all covered up by smoke. As he sees a guy with yellow hair and blue eyes, or dark blue eyes. As he says, so good. That was some nifty power you had. Gotta admit, it seemed stronger than me, than my quirk. But tell me something. Do you ever use your quirk? As Deku just looked over at him, saying, "What do you mean?" Being as quiet as he can because he doesn't want to get pounced on by the paparazzi. Basically. As All Might just says, well, he doesn't really know it's All Might. As he just says, well, by the looks of it, you used your quirk there, but you used different things to get up here. You climbed, you jumped and climbed all the way up here. By the way, this is a steep building, so how the hell were you even able to hold on to anything? Sure, there are a few ledges that you can hold on to, but not that many. So what's your true quirk? As Deku just said, my mind. Anything that I think of, I can make appear in thin air. As All Might just calls him an, oh, so you're an airhead then. As Deku just says, "Oh, shut up with the slang. I get enough slang when I'm at school." As Toshinori just basically says, young kids, you guys are always full of energy. Well, can't say I'm surprised. Gotta admit, it's been 15 years since I've last seen you, Midoriya. Or should I say, Izuku Midoriya. As Izuku just sort of says, "How do you know my name?" As, well, All Might says, "I know you. I know your mother, and I know your sister. Inko Midoriya, Izumi Midoriya. You three are a weird bunch. I hear you're also from outer space. You're also from outer space. So that confirms that aliens exist. But honestly, I don't really care. You look human enough, so I think you're human. Just because you're from outer space doesn't mean that you're not entirely hostile. I know your sister met us with open hostility earlier. Well, when you were born, anyway. Your sister sure as hell shot the second and the number 2 hero in the foot, which he still isn't a lot of pain about. So, yeah. But anyway, I'd like to ask you something. Is Izuku just is still mind boggled that he's talking to a pro hero who was there when he was born? As Izuku says, "What's your name?" As All Might just says, "Do you want my real name or my hero name?" As he says, "Hero name. Hero name first, then your actual name." As he says, "All Might. All Might, kid. My name's All Might." As Izuku just eyes do the anime thing of sparkles. As he says, "The number 1 hero. I'm your biggest fan." Deku still is kind of a nerd. I failed to mention that as well. But he's not too much of a nerd, so he doesn't go full out on things. As, well, All Might just says, "Calm down, kid. Calm down. I don't do much of the paparazzi thing." As Deku says, "Me neither. But forgive me for fanboying, but meeting your number one hero is kind of a big deal, especially in the flesh. But I thought you were a lot taller than this. As well, Toshinori just lifted up his shirt, saying, "That's why I'm not muscly anymore. I got a pretty bad injury." The same thing happens in canon where Deku says, "From toxic chainsaw." And, well, once again, he says, "You know your stuff," but no. The guy lands some hits, but he can't take me down. They couldn't take me down. This is from an older match. One that I spent most of my fortune and my reputation to keep hidden from the public. I'm supposed to be the symbol of peace. The one that's always got a smile on his face and isn't always worried. Truth is, I'm terrified. And Suzuki just puts his hand up, saying, "You don't need to go on a rant with me." Honestly, if there's somebody out there who can kick your ass to next week, then yes, this person is strong. But not strong to overpower, as he slips up, saying this, not as strong as the warp. As he covers his mouth, saying to himself, "Shit, I shouldn't have said that." As Toshinori picks up on it, saying, "The warp, what's that?" As Izuku says, "Okay, how do I get out of this one?" As All just says, "You can't. You got me curious now, kid." As he tries to explain the best way he can. Surprisingly, All Might gets where he's coming from with this, as he continues explaining what he thinks the warp is from what his mother told him. And he also told him that's how he gets his power, from the warp. As All Might just nods, saying, Right. So you only get your power from the warp, from this warp thing. But you don't exactly know how it works, correct? As Izuku just nods, saying, "Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't born in a different galaxy, I was born here, on this planet, in this galaxy. So the laws of the galaxy must be appeased. I use the void energy, basically." As Izuku gets a phone call from his mother saying, "Prepare for an ass beating when you get home, young man." As also in anime fashion, a giant, well, Izuku starts sweating bullets. As he says, yes, Mum." "Okay, I'm coming home. I'll be there in 10. You've got 5 minutes, young man." As again, Izuku's world shatters a bit. Because there's nothing more scarier than your mother. Especially when she's got a lot of combat experience and you do not. So yeah, he's in for a very, 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 very bad time. As even All Might is sort of shaking, saying, as he sort of speaks, saying, "I thought your mother might have loosened up a bit being here on Earth, but apparently even she can have a very rough facade that she does not let her guard down, even for a few seconds." And she says, who is that you're talking to?" As Izuku says, cheerfully, "All Might, the number one hero." And she says, "Oh, really? Speaking to that tool? You're speaking to that moron which on several occasions I had to save his ass?" As even All Might sort of feels that little burn. And she tells him to put her on loudspeaker, as he does. As he says, "Here you go, mother, you're on loudspeaker." And she sort of says, "All Might, do I need to remind you that I saved you from your biggest nemesis a few times? Not once, but twice. May I remind you of what happened to your mentor when you both faced him?" Is All Might saying, "Yes, you don't need to remind me, ma'am. Ma'am, you do not need to remind me of this. I remember." And she says, "You better remember, my son also has combat skills. And they're the same combat skills he can use to knock your stupid ass down a peg or two. Izuku, honey, get home. Right now, walk, before I teleport all the way over to your location and full on volleyball kick you back home. Love you. See you in a few." As she hangs up. And both of them are there shaking. As Deku says, "I better get going," as he puts his phone back. It's all like is shaking, putting his hands up, saying, "Yeah, we both know not to keep your mother waiting. After all, I had to help her out at her home a few times. As well, sort of, well, nothing cheeky or anything. Just helping her clean the house and delivering her, getting her shopping and all that. Your mother's not anybody to mess with." As well, they both go their separate ways, but they're still shaking. Deku keeps his hoodie on because he, well, accidentally left his hoodie on. As the paparazzi found him, as he says, just simply says, once again, "Fuck. I should have taken the hoodie off. My mother's going to kill me. Better lose him quick." As he quickly takes off, going around a corner, taking off his cloak and all that, putting it in his backpack, and, well, just walking home. In the opposite direction to where the paparazzi run straight into him and straight past him. As he just sort of sits there saying, "Ow. One, rude. Two, I'm so late and I'm so gonna die." When he finally gets home, his mother virtually puts him to the edge of death. And even he said after they were done, saying, "Mum, that really hurts. I've already been ran over by the paparazzi today. And yeah, it's not fun getting my ass immediately kicked when I get home." As his mother just says, "Shut up and go get yourself changed, boy. Yes, oh. And that's where I'm leaving it off, guys. Hope you like, subscribe, and comment down below. This one, I sort of made this one up as I go along. So, the one where Deku is a space marine will still be a thing, but also so will the Mandalorian one. Go and check out my 300 special, which is what if Asta was the reincarnation of Sephiroth, the good side of him. And comment down below if you want that to continue, because I'll be more than glad to do it. Or comment if you want a new Bell what if, and I'll do that. So anyway, again, like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, peace.